Our Story Production presents The Road to Our Story, spotlighting an in-depth look at many of The Road to Our Story magazine's featured articles. So get ready, for you're about to travel on The Road to Our Story.
Hello, I'm Jason Howland, and welcome to Speaking of Health, a place to help you learn how to live a longer and healthier life. Imagine you or a loved one is faced with a serious or life-threatening illness. You want to relieve the pain and improve your quality of life, in some cases in the small amount of time that is left. While traditional clinical medicine can't cure you of your illness, palliative medicine can help you live your life better in the face of that illness. Our guests today on Speaking of Health are Dr. Corey Ingram, Palliative Care Medical Director from Mayo Clinic Health System and also Assistant Professor of Palliative Medicine at Mayo Clinic, and also here to share her own personal story of a family member's experience with palliative care is Linda Sandberg from Sherburne. Thanks for joining us both on Speaking of Health.
Thank you, Jason.
Well, Dr. Ingram, first off, could you start by explaining what palliative care is? Because a lot of people probably don't know what it is.
That's exactly right, Jason. Thank you for asking, and thanks for having this segment on palliative care. I think your intro actually stated it quite well about if a loved one had a serious illness. And in palliative care, we are a team of people who focuses on one thing, and that is helping a patient and their family live well in the face of serious illness. We tend to four main areas of their life: their physical suffering, social suffering, emotional suffering, and spiritual suffering. And as a team, we try and help them live as well as they can in the face of serious illness.
You know, a lot of people have heard of hospice, I'm sure, but a lot haven't heard of palliative care. Yeah. What is the difference between the two?
Hospice care was developed in the 1980s in this country to deliver palliative care to dying patients. Palliative medicine has really risen to the forefront in the last years as people are living with serious illnesses for a lot longer periods of time. And palliative medicine is the deliverance of palliative care for people who are living with a serious illness, not necessarily dying from it. And so we provide very similar services to hospice, but we take care of patients who are recently diagnosed throughout the illness course. Some people actually get better, and sometimes we care for people even as they are dying. But a lot of people also at some point in time transition to receiving palliative care through hospice in the last few weeks of life as well.
Well, Linda, if you could, please share a little bit of the story of your sister and the experience that she and your family had with palliative care program at Mayo Clinic Health System.
My sister Vicki Rosenberg suffered from cancer, ovarian cancer, for about 7 years. I'd never heard of palliative care, and in August this last year, my sister was hospitalized in Mankato with a bowel obstruction and actually a bursting of the bowel, and was very, very ill. And while we were there, we were contacted by the palliative care team and asked if they would like us to come and visit with them. And Vicki was so sick she could hardly even respond. So she asked if I would sit in with her. I had no idea what palliative care was. So it was very interesting to me, and I was just amazed by these people. They come in as a team, they're extremely caring, loving, and the 4 points that he talked about that they try to cover, they're wonderful. Vicki had been suffering from some conditions, and they immediately, because of their vast experience with people going through those types of situations, said, we need to do this, 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 and this for you. And that aided her tremendously. It took her out of a lot of pain. A lot of the symptoms which were causing her a lot of problems were remedied within 1 or 2 days. And this was right before my sister's son was getting married, a week before he was getting married. And they had said all along, we will get you to that wedding. And I would never have dreamed they could accomplish that goal. And they did. And she looked gorgeous. And it was in large part thanks to the love and care and support that they gave her.
And I understand that Vicki was very passionate about palliative care. Even before she was diagnosed with cancer, she was well aware what palliative care was and what it does for people, right?
Yes, she was. I did not know that. She worked at the Foundation for the Madelia Hospital, the director, and as part of that, she was looking for a grant to get palliative care into the Madelia area, and actually worked with someone from Mankato to get the grant that got this wonderful program into the area. So when it ended up that she was using their services, she was just thrilled. And that's why when I was asked if I would come and speak on this, it's like, yes, because this was something that my sister was very passionate about. And I know she's up in heaven going, yes, yes, get it down to Fairmont, get it everywhere else you can, because it is such a wonderful program.
Thank you.
You talked about the palliative care team helping her with her symptoms, but I would imagine there was many other things that the team helped with as well, right?
Yes. I mean, they were there for Vicki medically, like he said, emotionally, spiritually, which was wonderful. But they also met with the family. First with my mom and dad and Vicki and I was amazed how intuitive they were to what my parents were going through, what Vicki was going through, what we were going through. And my dad had really struggled with Vicki's situation, and it really helped him. When he came out of that meeting, he says, wow, they're wonderful. And then later on, they met with the whole family, and we have a pretty good-sized family with Vicki's sons and, the rest of us. And rather than having us all drive up to Mankato, they said, you know what, we'll come down to Sherburne. So they took their time and came down and met with us in Sherburne. And they're so patient, you never felt like, okay, they were looking at their watches, I need to get going. They would give us whatever time was needed and explain things so well. And they did a great job with a topic that's very difficult. Her sons were very nervous about meeting with them and discussing this kind of taboo subject, and it really helped Vicki too, because it's a kind of meeting that she'd wanted to have with her boys and her family, and they helped have that discussion and make it easier for all of us.
Yet nobody knows how to deal with, a serious or life-threatening illness. How do you deal with that? And having experts there to help you and guide you along, I would imagine would be very, very helpful, right?
Yeah, you just can't explain how much support that is, to have them understand, like I said, what you're going through, provide resources, say, this is probably what you're thinking. Oh yeah, how'd they know that? And I didn't want to say that in front of Vicki, or Vicki didn't want to say some things in front of us. But because of the support that they had, Vicki could say some things that she wanted to say. Yeah, it was just great for her, like you said, because she wanted to have the conversations. They're difficult. She didn't know how to do it. And with your guys' help, it was great.
Well, Dr. Ingram, can you talk a little bit more about your team, what it consists of, and some of the things that you provide for patients and their families like Vicki's?
Sure. So I'm really glad, I think this really allows us to showcase what we do. And we have on our team a nurse practitioner, social worker, chaplain. We also have volunteers. We would love to have healing arts practitioners in the future as well, doing creative art therapy, writing therapy, music therapy. And I think if you can envision being seriously ill, if you can envision being in the hospital has really been unable to control three main things that go on when you're hospitalized: boredom, isolation, loneliness. And so we also have a team of volunteers who come and help people who are in our hospital or at home or wherever they may be, to lighten the load on their family as well as help that person in the midst of what they're dealing with. Recently we had a young lady who wanted to she wanted to do some handwork. Turned out she wanted to do latch hook rug. Volunteers went and got it. They brought it in the hospital. They made her hospitalization better in the face of serious illness. So our team is broad and trying to be all-encompassing.
Well, I've heard you refer to palliative care as a cloak, and that's actually what palliative means, right?
Yeah, that's the direct translation. And I think if we're really if we really look carefully at people who are seriously ill and their families, I think one word that comes to mind for all of them is fragile. The situation is fragile and very tender for all of them. And what they need is somebody to cloak, to really embrace them as a whole, helping them through the situations they're in, from home to hospital to, Rochester and back, really helping guide them through our system and help them live well in the face of serious illness.
And at this point, the palliative care team for Mayo Clinic Health Systems region in southwest Minnesota is based out of Mankato, but the goal is to spread the program to other sites, including in Fairmont and some of the other locations, right?
That's exactly right. We're looking at models of care so that we can have palliative care available to absolutely every patient within the Mayo Clinic Health System. So anywhere in this region of the Mayo Clinic Health System, as well as our Wisconsin sites and the area around Rochester, palliative medicine is clearly an initiative in which we feel so strongly about that we want every patient who is within distance of a Mayo Clinic Health System site to receive palliative care services.
And in Fairmont already there's been a good start to get that program going, right?
That's exactly right. The Cole family, as you may have seen, opened their hearts. I called it a gift truly of compassion. They both have lived through a spouse dying, being seriously ill, being in Rochester, being in their local community, and they've experienced how some of the things we've talked about, the loneliness, the boredom, just the sheer unawareness of how sick their loved one was, and then the end of their loved one's life. And they recognize the need for palliative care, helping people who are living with these serious illnesses transition throughout the healthcare system and be well cared for at the same time.
So Dr. Ingram, tell me a little bit more about the patients that your team takes care of in palliative care.
I'd be glad to. I think Vicki was a prime example, a young mother, wife with an advanced cancer. We take care of people of all ages, We take care of, this year we've taken care of people in their 20s. Certainly there's specialized palliative care for children as well. We don't see a great deal of those children in this area of the state. They're usually taken care of in the cities. So we do take care of people of all ages, young and old. And people we take care of, they're living with a serious illness that affects their daily life. Oftentimes it's hard for them to can fulfill their regular daily activities. It's hard for them to work. We try and help them get back to work. It's hard for them, just to complete the things that most of us frankly take for granted prior to that day in which we have a serious illness. Some people might experience as well that, and I actually tell people this, I say, we're kind of like a bad rash. We keep coming back. Once you got us, you're stuck with us. Mm-hmm. My social worker has said, well, you might want to say we're like a tattoo. It sounds better. But I think that's the experience of some patients and families, because once you are caring for somebody that seriously ill, the connection, it's just natural. It stays. It's durable. And I think your family experienced the same thing. Even when Vicki officially was in hospice care, we were in Mankato, but we weren't far away.
Definitely, most definitely. While she was technically under the palliative care umbrella alone, we would have issues. My sister was very ill, like I said, and I'd call their team and say, we need to get her this doctor, and we can't get her in, or we need this medication. Okay, we'll take care of it, and they did. I can't even think of all the things that they help us take care of. Once she transitioned into hospice, they didn't drop us. They were still there, and there were times that, because of all the different medical professionals involved, we had some concerns about her treatment, and the way they had treated her was so wonderful. So I called the team, hey, can you help with this? Yep, and they did. No matter when, they were there helping us. My sister passed away in October, and I just got a call from Ellen from your team a couple weeks ago. So the caring and support doesn't stop.
Yeah, I think that's an important piece to mention. If you think about people who are cared for with hospice care, only about 30% of people that die with hospice care. We take care of people who are dying in palliative care as well, and we also provide bereavement services going forward. So for all those people that never provided professional bereavement services before, they're now providing them through palliative care as well, in addition to hospice care. So people that never got into hospice for whatever reason are now also getting bereavement services through palliative care as well.
I can only imagine for the family, that's got to be so reassuring to have that team behind you through this whole journey.
Oh, definitely. My other sister and I really cared for my sister that died quite a bit in those last few months, and we were just so thankful that we had them for a resource and continue to have them for a resource.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I'd like to thank our guests today, Dr. Corey Ingram and Linda Sandberg, for joining us today on Speaking of Health. Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
And have a great day, everyone, and be healthy.
There you have it, folks. One of the favorite stories ripped from the pages of The Road to Our Story magazine. Let's have a look at another.
Our Story Productions presents the Cockober Morning Show, where we weed out the big stories from throughout Sweet Swine County with Bobby Ray and Sally Sue.
Oh, thank you, and welcome to another Cockober Morning Show. And Bobby Ray, it's so good to have you back.
Oh, I'm so glad to be back, Sally. I got to tell you that it was great to be out in the hinterland, but I also want to thank my cousin Jeff for filling in for me while I was gone. That was very, very nice of him.
Well, you know, he did a wonderful job. But, however, it was never made clear where you were.
Well, Sally Sue, if you need to know,
Yes, I do.
okay, you may not know this, but I am a history buff.
You're a history buff?
Oh, yeah, I sure am.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You know, I went over to Murray County in the town of Fulda.
Oh, nice town.
Fulda's
Nice
beautiful
town.
old town.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, they've got history, and I took some notes.
Oh, okay. Well, share with us.
Would you mind if I shared those?
Oh, yes, that's
I'm
great.
telling you, I was really impressed.
Wonderful.
First, I visited the GAR Monument. It was erected in 1895
Really?
and dedicated Memorial Day 1896. The monument to the old soldier, the man in blue, still stands in Prairie Hill Cemetery, 1 mile north of Fulda.
Okay.
Nearly 100 years after its dedication, the monument was painted for the first time during the summer of 1995.
1995, really?
Took a long time before they had to paint it. They
Wow,
used
I
good
guess-
paint back then.
I guess.
It now stands dressed with a dark blue coat, sky blue trousers, fitting attire for the old soldier.
How nice.
Oh, it's very
Nice.
impressive, very impressive.
Striking, I bet.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
very nice.
Then I stopped to see the Civil War cannon. Now, the cannon rests in the city park with its muzzle to the western sky.
Okay.
And it has seen many sunsets since coming to Fulda.
I bet.
The 3-inch rifled gun, which is a pretty big, that's a big barrel, okay, was purchased for $155 on June 25th in 1892.
155.
Yes.
Oh.
Now that's by the I might as well finish my thought there. By the Zach Taylor Post number 42 of the Grand Army of the Republic. Now, what struck me about that was just last week I was watching a program on cable,
Sure.
and they showed a Civil War cannon very similar to this that was sold for over $30,000.
Really?
Yes, I was. So aside from its historical significance, it is a very valuable piece of equipment.
Yes, they definitely
Yep.
have a treasure
Oh, I'm
there.
telling you,
I
it's
mean, you know,
unbelievable.
that's
Yep.
wonderful.
Then, to finish the historic look around Fulda, I stopped at Fulda Veterans Memorial Park.
Oh, okay.
Now, I took a picturesque walk along the lake, and it's also a commemorative walk for those who have served in the armed forces. Bricks in the paver walk are inscribed with names and service dates for those from the Fulda area. So that's really a great tribute to the servicemen and women that served from that area.
Oh,
Great idea.
Oh, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it sure
oh,
is.
that's
Yep.
wonderful.
And you know, I'm very impressed at how much history there is to see in Fulda. I would recommend our viewers, please, to visit that
Oh,
community.
definitely.
You know, Sally Sue, while I've been out learning about the rest of the past, other citizens from Sweet Swine County have been learning about what is happening in towns outside of Sweet Swine.
Sure.
So today, why don't we take a look?
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Okay,
yes.
let's do that.
My name is Johnny Hackney, and I'm on the case, a big case to find out about the downtowns in our story country. The boss wants answers to what's going on, so I walk the streets to find out downtowns that have become the greatest streets in Minnesota. The case is clear. Now I will take what I've learned to the big boss.
Oh, Johnny, show the big boss what you found.
Ah, Johnny, this is another great downtown. A downtown rich with history and a hometown feel.
The railroad town of Fulda, Minnesota was founded in 1881, north of 7 Mile Lake. The two-story Milwaukee Railroad Depot and the former Citizen State Bank building are listed on the National Registry of Historical Places. Fulda promotes itself as the home of the wood duck, and their annual festival draws several thousand people during a 3-day celebration. Boasting quality schools, parks, and civic organizations, Fulda residents believe in working together, helping each other, and getting involved in their community.
Johnny, shops, services, and entertainment. Show me some more.
It appears the talk is true. This is another downtown that has become one of the greatest streets of Minnesota.
Wow, Bobby Ray, wasn't that great?
Oh.
I can't wait to see another town.
Yeah,
it's just wonderful.
absolutely.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, now it's time to introduce our guest.
Yes, and you know what, Sally Sue? You need to know that music is my life.
Wait a minute. 2 weeks ago, you told us that fashion was your life.
Well, I know, but truly down deep inside, my burning passion is music.
I see.
It
Okay.
really is. It
No,
really is.
Okay, I understand.
And I want to tell you, we have a treat today. Because we have a musical talent all the way from the big city of Mankato.
All the way from Mankato?
Yes.
Oh.
On our show today, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming none other than Lonesome Ron. Oh, I'm telling you. Welcome. Welcome.
Well, thank you, and it's really good to be here today.
Yes. Oh, well, Lonesome, it's so great to have you in Sweet Swine County.
Yes, it is. It's a joy.
Well, when you called, I had just gotten a call from the women of Sweet Swine County, and they wanted me to be on their show, but I didn't get back to them, and then you called.
Well, Lonesome, I was walking past the ladies' dressing room, and I happened to overhear them making a phone call about booking you. Now, we would never try to steal another guest, but I thought, what a great idea. And so I was calling to see if there was a chance we might be able to book you later, is
Yes,
what I was thinking.
I'm sure we would never do anything
No,
like
no.
that. So, Lonesome, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your music?
Well, sure I can. I do a lot of songs from the Old West, like Home on the Range, and I Ride an Old Paint, and a lot of tunes from the Singing Cowboys of the 1930s, and I even write a lot of my own about the Old West and the Old Midwest as well.
Wow, Lonesome. Could you sing a song for us?
Sure can.
Oh, great.
Love to.
That'd be great. Could you maybe get a cold cloth for Sally Sue, too? Just a thought. Okay, let's hear now from Lonesome Ron.
Okay, now, I was growing up, I was watching all these westerns on TV, and I noticed that a lot of them took place in Colorado and Arizona and Texas, but none of them took place in Minnesota. And I always thought they should make a singing cowboy movie that took place in Minnesota, and I wrote a song that I thought if they ever do that, this song will be waiting for them.
Oh, good. Awesome.
I've ridden in the Rockies of Wyoming and underneath the Arizona sky. Been north to Idaho and the trail to Mexico and lived among the Colorado pines. I've traveled through the desert of Sonora, across the Texas plains to San Antone. But when it's late at night and the stars are shining bright, I miss my Cannon River Valley home. Odelo, odele, odele, odelo, odele, odelo, odele, oh, I You can take me to the hills of California, or on a riverboat to New Orleans, across the Rio Grande, or up to Texarkana, or to the bluegrass land of Tennessee. You can put me on a fast train through Montana, but when I'm wandering all alone, my thoughts begin to stray at the end of every day back to my Cannon River Valley home. Oh, Lord, oh, lay, oh, Lord, Lord,
Thank you. Great. Now, you wrote that song?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that was outstanding. And you know what, Lonesome? We hear that you have a cabin in Sweet Swine County. Is that true?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I needed a summer home, and Ronnie Silage needed guitar lessons, so we swapped, and he gets the guitar lessons, and I get the summer home. And I'm also appearing on As the Corn Grows, and keeps me closer to Sweet Swine County, so everything worked great.
And I've seen you performing on that show. It's awesome.
Oh, I'll bet it is.
It is. Oh,
I'll bet it is.
Such a fan.
Yeah, I can tell.
I'm such a fan.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. We like to make our guests feel welcome.
Yes, and I've enjoyed being on this show. And now I got another song that I think everyone will enjoy.
Great.
It's all about the Minnesota River, and I grew up along the river, so I decided it needs a song. The river ain't deep, the river ain't wide, we're hauling cargo on the time and tide, steamboat sailing past the countryside on the Minnesota River. We're leaving St. Paul, gotta make a big run, going up the river with the light of dawn, hauling pine lumber in the rising sun. Another day's labor has just begun, we're burning wood on the red hot stove, gotta make sure that the paddle wheel rolls, keep on moving to reach our goal on the Minnesota River. We're gonna make a stop to pick up some wood, stacking it high till it hugs the roof. Keep the fire stoked, that's understood. We're all hoping that the river is good. Pull up to the left, make the wheel sound. See the folks come from miles around. They wanna find out what's coming to town on the Minnesota River. Well, the river ain't deep, the river ain't wide. We're hauling cargo on the time and tide. Steamboat sailing past the countryside on the Minnesota River. I heard a tale about a big race. Molly and Julia set the pace. Two steering wheelers making haste to be the first to reach this place. But we found out what happened that day. Julia hit a snag, they say. She went down, now she lay in the Minnesota River. Here comes Anthony Wayne, the otter and the freighter, the City Belle, Clarion and the Equator. Some come in spring, but others come later on the Minnesota River. Watch that smoke, watch that steam, hear that riverboat whistle scream. Squint your eyes in the rippling gleam, being on the river is living a dream. But when we heard the railroads hum, freight cars moving ton by ton, it wouldn't be long till the work was done on the Minnesota River. Oh, the river ain't deep, the river ain't wide, hauling cargo on the time and tide. Steamboat sailing past the countryside on the Minnesota River. See the steamboat sailing past the countryside on the Minnesota River. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Lonesome, that was great.
Thank you. You know, I love everything about Sweet Swine County and your show.
And we'd like to really thank our guest, Lonesome Ron, for being here.
Yes, definitely.
And you know, before we go, we'd like to share with our viewers how they might be able to contact you, and if you were to perform at one of their events. So Ron, how would that be?
Well, if they want to contact me, they can go to www.lonesomeron.com.
We would like to thank all the citizens of Sweet Swine that are discovering towns outside Sweet Swine and bringing them to us. It's just amazing what we see. And we would also like to thank Lonesome Ron.
Thank you.
This has been wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, I did too.
I enjoyed it too. Maybe not to the level that Sally Sue did, but I certainly enjoyed it.
That's great. So, well, we want to say goodbye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.